Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom, we're both in the corporate offices today.
Might be the first time ever for the Today's Antidote show.
That's it. Look at that. Tom's just a room away. I could bang on the wall loudly and he'd hear it. Yeah. So,
yes.
Awesome.
Very cool. So if you're listening to the podcast and unsure, that you can see that Bob and I are for the first time in the same space. So just so you're aware of what we're talking about when we share some of those things that aren't as apparent to those who are watching to the cast that is broad.
Yes, that's it. Well played.
Thanks. All right. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Antidote, our daily cast that is both pod and broad. And it's hard to say.
I don't know why you have such a problem with it. It's just fun to listen to.
I just have to really think about it. It's kind of like saying, are you listening to the podcast and watching the broadcast? Sometimes the listening to the podcast is hard to remember. I guess when you've been saying it the same way for so long and then you introduce something new, it still takes a little while to get more accustomed to it. So that's what I'm trying to do with the cast that is pod and broad. So if you happen to be the one listening to the podcast, not the ones who are listening to the podcast. There was a slip there. Sorry.
That might be the best slip ever.
We hope that you will share it with your friends so that there is more than just one. No, that's kidding. There's not just one. That was just a slip. And rate our show, because that can help us get the word out further. How should they rate it, Bob?
5 stars. And if you're in podcast land, which is where you'd be rating it, you could look at right now and you'd see 5 fingers up for 5 stars.
Yes.
1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 stars.
Are we on Sesame Street where we're counting our numbers today?
The other thing someone could do, Tom, is they could share it.
I believe I said that as well, but that's okay. Yes,
well,
they can share it with others.
Tom, I want to make that a little more concrete. I've been sharing some of what we do with people in my life that I know or I think might need to hear some of the messages that we're communicating. And I just send them a link and say, hey, here's a broadcast, or here's a Facebook Live, or here's a LinkedIn Live. Here's whatever platform I think they might be using. Here's something I thought might be valuable to you. If you see value in it, that's great. If you don't get to it, no harm, no foul. If you're looking for a way to connect to some other person, maybe you've lost track of a lead. Maybe it's someone that 3 months ago, you talked about partnership and it sort of fell apart. Now's the perfect time to reach out to them with something from one of these broadcasts. Say, hey, we were talking about partnership and I was thinking about wishing that we could figure something out. And here they're talking about wishes. I thought it might be really valuable for you.
Good suggestion. Thank you for adding that.
The reason I say it is people ask me all the time, it's like, how do you stay in touch with people? And one of the ways to do it is to share content that you find value from. And I have someone who sends me almost every night TikToks, and they're really valuable. I don't always watch them that night, but I might binge 7 of them on a Sunday morning and be like, oh, wow. That was really useful. The fact that that person connected that information to my need, to me, can be a really powerful way to build a relationship.
Absolutely. And it's semi-easy and non-threatening way to connect and engage, which is just probably the most effective way to do that on whatever platform you're on, is not just the way people normally do that, where they say, hey, I got this great offer that you want to take advantage of. Right. And they don't even know who I am. So So those are great opportunities to do that. You can also do that with what we share if you are just watching us on YouTube or LinkedIn Live. It's easy to just take a clip of this or just find the link and send it to someone else who you think might be looking for this type of information or looking for people who are sharing ideas and they would be interested in.
Uh-oh, Tom, you're fading out. You did it again. Oh boy, I wasn't prepared today for this. So Tom, you're in and out again. Tom is out. So if you're watching on the listening on the podcast, Tom has frozen, hence he stopped talking. So you're going to get the Bob Show for a little while Tom figures it out. So we always like to start our program with celebration. The reason being that we believe that celebrating what you've accomplished the prior day, the action steps you take, is really critical to finding it easier to take subsequent action steps. So normally Tom and I would ask what we're celebrating. I will tell you that I'm celebrating a beautiful, beautiful sunny day today and tomorrow where I am. And I'm lucky enough to be close to the beach. And I booked a little time tomorrow afternoon to go out to the beach because it's supposed to be 60 degrees and sunny. And today it is gorgeous. And I'm also celebrating, I forgot, I'm doing a presentation today at noon for a Project Management Institute group. And this is a group, these groups are near and dear to my heart because I have a neighbor who's in this organization. He's an engineer, and he says to me at least 3 times a year, our groups so need what you do. It's so valuable. And so I'll be speaking to the Reston, Virginia Project Management Institute group at noon today on real innovation and collaboration.
Interesting. Are you going to talk about our collaboration?
It is one of the examples I give. Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
Sorry that I jumped out there for a little bit. Not quite
No,
sure.
I know. We're trying to fit into your busy schedule. So what are you celebrating, Tom, today?
You know, I'm celebrating a week ago, and I'll wrap this up, I think, hopefully fairly quickly. A week or so ago, actually 2 weeks ago, I participated in this week-long workshop with an organization that I've been involved with for a while, and it was an opportunity to learn a new skill set and get some certification in a process that they make available, typically to nonprofit organizations, a set of standards. And it was great. And I really enjoyed the people who were leading it. And they reached out to me yesterday to ask me for feedback about the workshop so that they could use to share with others. And it's funny, I think so often we think of that as like, they're just trying to get something, they're trying to use whatever leverage that I may or may not have. And yet this morning I got thinking about it as that was a nice thing that they thought that I might be able to help share the value that I received and that might be beneficial to others. And as I got thinking about it, I was like, you know what, it's nice to be asked that. And so rather than thinking of it cynically, like, no, geez, to think of it as, they value and think that others might value what I had to say about the workshop. And so I'm celebrating that, that they thought of me. And I think that's a great thing for us to consider as we ask others for feedback or for thoughts or for testimonials, that, you kind of feel like, oh gosh, I hate to ask. And maybe that person would be honored that you valued their input and their thoughts and ideas so much that you would offer them the opportunity to share that you could then share that with others. And I think that shift in mind is a little bit different about how we have value and all the different ways that we can share it. And that when others ask us to provide it on behalf of them, that it really is a nice honor that they were thinking of us as someone who could, be influential over others. So I think that's going to be my celebration, that I hadn't really thought about it until I started thinking about.
Uh-oh, Tom froze again. So we will go on without Tom. We'll move right. That's a great celebration, Tom. We'll move right into our national celebration. Each day we like to have some national celebration. And today is National Pie Day. Not 3.14. That was another day back in March. That was March 14th. This is National Pie Day, like apple, cherry, lemon meringue, chocolate meringue, you name it, all the pies. So Tom, what's your favorite pie?
I'm not a huge pie person. Although I would have to say that if I had to choose, my favorite pies are either they have to have graham cracker crust. Standard crust doesn't do it for me. So typically it would be either peanut butter pie, although I'm finding that to be unbelievably sweet. So the go-to for me is chocolate pudding with whipped cream on top. That's my go-to pie.
Okay. Wow. I'm an apple pie guy.
Doesn't surprise me.
And last year for my birthday, John Hanson brought me a homemade apple pie. Oh, and I only say that now because my birthday is a couple weeks away and I want him to do it again. That's how good a pie it was. It was
December 17th, just in case people are asking. That's Bob's birthday.
That's right. Hey, we're getting up close.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, Tom, I know it's all about me. So National Pie Day, if you go to our Facebook group in a little while, you'll see an opportunity there to tell us what your favorite type of pie is. And the reason we do that, not just because we like to talk about pie, but because you might be someone who likes lemon meringue pie and you might see 3 other people that like lemon meringue pie. And I would encourage you to contact those people. Reach out to them. Hey, I saw you really like lemon meringue pie. What do you like about it? Oh, I like the fact that the meringue's so thick and oh, my grandmother made it. That's how we build relationships. And that's one of the things that Tom and I are really committed to in all of our work is building the deep relationships. And it can start over something as simple as what kind of pie do you like?
Absolutely. Well, it's about getting to know more about someone. It's interesting. I was having this conversation with a client the other day about building relationships. And they were thinking about it in terms of how do I cultivate donors so that I can go and ask them for a gift.
They were a nonprofit trying to generate revenue. For those of us who aren't in that nonprofit world, I have to translate.
Yeah, I appreciate that you're doing that because I always forget that. And it was just interesting because I had said to them, well, how do you build relationships with other people? And they thought about it, and we talked about it a little bit, and they realized that that's the same thing. It's all about finding out more about the person so that the conversations you can have are more engaging and more about things that they find an interest in or that you have common interests in. And I think so often we think that building relationships is like this big game, when in reality, we build relationships all the time when we take the time to try to get to know someone else so that the conversations can be just deeper than, well, what do you do? And what's your job? And, what are you doing on the weekend or something like that can be deeper into what's going on. So there's a better understanding and connection.
Knowing the person, not their position.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's interesting. In my LinkedIn profile, it says that I'm a Johns Hopkins lacrosse fan. And every now and then I get someone who goes, hey, I saw you like Johns Hopkins lacrosse. Did you play? And that always sparks a discussion about college lacrosse. Every single time when the person takes the time to do that, or they're like, oh, I've never seen a game before. And I actually had a guy about 10 years ago. He's like, I've never seen a game. I was like, well, if you get to Baltimore in the spring, let me know. I'll take you to a game. So he actually called me, came to Baltimore, and I took him to a game. And he's like, whoa, this is like hockey on steroids, because he was from Minnesota. And it really developed a relationship between us we talked about work stuff and we did some work stuff together. But while we were watching the lacrosse game, we were talking about our families. We were talking about just the whole world that we were in. It just deepens that relationship, because if you have a relationship with someone solely on business, it's pretty tenuous. Because I don't get excited when you call me and go, hey, Bob, so I understand that you use the HP Envy 5500 printer and you use 2 cartridges every 3 months. It doesn't really spark a lot from me like, oh, yeah. But if you said to me, hey, Bob, I heard you were at the beach. What's Bethany like at this time of year? Now we're off to the races. And I find so much that those discussions, when I get done those discussions and the person's like, if you know anyone who does this, I find myself over the next day or two finding one or two people that do that thing for the person because they cared about me. Uh-oh, Tom froze again. It's one of those days. So I'm going to move right into our topic today, which I've totally forgotten because, well, it's been a while. I know we're talking about making wishes. Are you back, Tom? Nope, he's not. Why we do what we do. Thank you. There it is. Why we do it. Thank you. I totally blanked for a second. We've gone like 2 weeks without you having major technical problems, and now today we're having them all.
Yeah, I don't know what's the deal is.
So
just go ahead.
No,
dive in.
Go while you're here, and I'll fill in when you freeze again.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons why we make wishes, or why we do that. And I think one of them is we look back and almost in regret or in judgment of what has happened. I imagine, and I wrote about this on LinkedIn yesterday, that there are a number of nonprofit organizations, because yesterday was Giving Tuesday, that are looking back and saying, well, I wish we had had more time to put our plan together. Or I wish we had seen the results that XYZ nonprofit had, when somebody is celebrating all the money that they brought in. I wish we had more volunteers. And in a way, to me, that's more of a judgment on what happened. And it's an easy way to not really do the hard work, which is maybe the most effective work, is asking what could we have done differently? Go back and ask those 3 questions. What went well, what didn't go as planned, and what will we do differently, so that we can then move forward and figure out, all right, the next time this comes around, what do we need to do differently? Well, maybe we need to plan sooner. Maybe we didn't even understand that that was an avenue to go that some other organization took. So maybe we'll consider doing that next year. And I think so often when we start looking back and wishing we had done something differently, we stop thinking about, well, how could we really do it differently? And how could we do it in a way? So I think we stop learning. We just want to judge what has happened. I think the other side to it is when
Can I stop you there, though, Tom? Because I had a thought tied to that first.
Sure.
Which is to look at those 3 questions. What went well? What didn't go so well? What might you do differently next time? Is to really talk about possible change.
Sure.
And most of us are resistant to change because change gets scary, because what if we do the wrong change? What if it's worse next year? We only get this Giving Tuesday 1 day a year. We botched it this year, some people would say. Now, if we do something different next year and it doesn't work, now we've messed up 2 years in a row.
It's one way to look at it, or to say, look at the things we're learning, because it's going to come around the following year. And okay, we have a chance to do it differently again. And so if we use it as a learning experience to say, okay, this didn't work the way we thought, let's tweak it and do it a little bit differently next year. And then see, okay, how did that go? How could we take what we learned then and move forward, rather than just saying, hey, I wish we, and typically I wish leads to, okay, well, I guess we're not going to do that anymore because it didn't work.
Right.
I think the other side to it is at the start of something is, I wish I had some other situation that I observe, or some other situation. So I look at some other business and say, wow, I wish we had the location that they did, or I wish that we had more staff.
Or customers just came through our door the way they go through their door.
Right. And I think that, what it is it's identifying what we would desire without doing, again, the next piece. And so one of the things I wrote about yesterday was, what if we changed wish? Anytime we say I wish or we wish, change it to say I or we want. This is the result we want. But then, I want you a Merry Christmas. I want you a Merry Christmas. We want you. No, it doesn't work, Tom.
I want you to have a Merry. We wish.
Well, because you're wishing.
Sorry, that's some holiday topicality.
You're wishing that to someone else.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
You hope that they have that. You hope that, because you can't control whether they're going to. So we wish that they have a Merry Christmas. But if we think about, I wish that my Christmas was going to be different than last year. I don't know that you would say that, but something along those lines.
I've certainly said that.
And what if you said, I want a Christmas different last year, and then add the phrase, and this is what I'm going to do to get it.
Right. I like that.
So it's saying, this is what I want. We're identifying, this is where I want to be. And not just, again, stopping it there, but adding to it, okay, what am I going to do to get that? You know, I wish I had a location like theirs. Change it to, I want a location like theirs. And I am going to spend an hour a day scouring the business listings of locations that might offer some of the same things that location has. So you've taken something that's very passive, turned it into something you desire, and the actions that you are going to take to help you get there.
I like that a lot. That's really good.
Thanks.
That could be a whole workshop.
It absolutely could. I think it's again changing our mindset about what it is. So it's not. You know, I don't think wishing is necessarily a negative thing or a bad thing.
I think it's a good starting point, right?
Correct.
It's the big picture dream scenario. I guess if you were drawing, it's like, okay, I'm going to draw on the canvas, and the canvas is 2 feet by 3 feet. That's what the wish part is. Then it's like, okay, this part's where I'm going to put this part's where I'm going to put this, and it's all going to come together in this way. And I'm going to use a lot of blue shades. It's the painting of it is where the real work comes in. And I think, as you were saying it, I was thinking really going from wishing to wanting to actually working, right? Because if you want that wish to come true, ultimately you have to do the work. It's probably not going to happen if you just go, I wish I had a better location for my business, or I wish on Giving Tuesday, everyone would give as much to me as they give to this organization. Or I wish the customers would just start calling my phone today.
Yeah. I wish my team would stop showing up late to meetings.
Yeah.
You know, because really, what are you doing? You're internalizing it all.
Yes.
Which in some ways, now, I think anytime we start wishing about something, it likely turns into frustration or overwhelm or just being stuck. Like, I don't know what to do about it. I wish that we could do this differently. And we stop thinking about, well, what could we actually do to change? And as you said earlier, that sometimes it's because change is hard and people don't want to change.
Right. So what's your one thing, Tom? I think you said it in there, but I want you to see if you can.
I think if we're talking about making wishes and why we do it, why do people do it? I think it's because they either, one, don't know the steps to take to really have it become a want, or the steps are hard and they don't want to take them, and they just hope that this will change, that something out there will happen in the universe and magically our wishes come true. And I think that's why we do it, is we either don't know the steps, or maybe, like you said, that we're afraid we're going to make the wrong ones, or that the steps are super hard and they would rather avoid that and just say, well, I'm going to put it out there and the universe will likely bring it to me one way or the other.
I'm going to use what you said earlier. I'm going to highlight it, and I'm totally stealing it from you. But if you can turn the sentence from I wish to I want, and then say, and I'm willing to do, and these are the steps I'm going to take or things I'm going to do to get there, that's when you have an opportunity. So I wish in 2022, I have more speaking opportunities. I wish I could be speaking twice a month, every month. Turn that to, I want to speak twice a month, every month in calendar 2022. And to do that, I'm willing to join the National Association of Speakers, participate in more events that get me access to event planners, change who I go after on my LinkedIn profile. And I think when we start to think in those ways, concrete steps that we can take, now it's no longer a wish. Now it's a possible reality because we're moving closer to it. right?
You may be moving closer to it. The steps you take,
but even if it's not the right step, not the best step, you're still going to learn. Well, you know what?
Absolutely.
Joining that national speaker group wasn't the best idea. I'm not going to do that next year. Or, wow, I didn't realize that if I told 20 of my friends that I like to speak to groups, they have a spider web of groups that will keep me busy for the next 10 years. Who knew?
Sure. Well, and I think that you have the opportunity to measure all those actions. That's the best part of it is, right? You have set what you think at this time is the best action steps that you, given what's real for you, know. So you take them. And then you have a chance to step back and say, okay, what went well? What didn't go as planned? What would I do differently as we look to what is the next version of how do you get to where you want to be as a speaker? And I think that's when we wish there's nothing to measure. It just did it happen or not, which is a result which we can't control. So I think I like that.
Okay.
And I like that you came up with that sentence.
Well,
now you need to put that in.
It's your sentence. I just.
No, I mean in the speaking part of it, because I know you've been talking about that for a lot. And I think you had started to create some action steps, or at least blocking off some time to take the action steps. So now that you have the action steps, you can actually put it into practice.
Yes. And also be accountable.
Correct.
You know, that's the other part of this. If you share it with someone else, you'll ask me about it. Hey, remember a couple weeks ago on that program, you said you were going to do these things. How are you doing with that? And that's what moves us forward. Just like, I'm going to ask you in a couple of days. So how's the book coming along? So now we're not just in the wish. We're in the, are you doing the actions you said you were going to do to make that progress? And if you're someone who says, wow, I really need that accountability, I'd love to have some focus. That's something Tom and I do through the Renegade Success Network. We have programs where you can work with us and we will help you figure out what those steps may be, help you determine when those steps are working in your favor, or sometimes, hey, it might be time to think of a different step, or just have a check-in, a 15-minute check-in once a week where it's like, so how you doing on those things you said you were going to do? What's your next big priority? And it can really drive success. Whether you lead a team, whether you run your own business, whether you're an employee, whether you're in sales, whether you're in a nonprofit, it doesn't matter. Having that kind of focus and accountability can really improve things. I can tell you, I'm accountable more and more to Tom about things. Tom and I, we do it with each other, and it really does keep us on task. I would not have written that book last year had it not been for you, hey, where are you going with that? And saying, oh, well, what's the next step? Oh, this. And with your book, I know now that you're blocking out time and you said it on our program yesterday, I know it's real. It's not just a wish.
Yes.
So if that's something you want to consider, please reach out to us. You can go to renegadesuccessnetwork@gmail.com and send us a nice quick email, and we would be happy to follow up with you.
And I think, and maybe while I'm sharing this, if you want to grab the link and put it in the post, I think it would be helpful.
I will.
This is really what our Find Success the Renegade Way 6-week program does. Is it helps you better understand. You get to identify where is it you want to be, not where you wish you were, but where you want to be. And the program will help you figure out the steps to go along with it. Not only will the program do it in self-guided that you can either consume a lot at once or daily. It is set up to do daily, and you could do it. You could binge it if you wanted, if that's the way you like to watch things. And then Bob and I also offer office hours every Monday during that 6 weeks to have a chance for you to stop by when you are stuck, when you can't figure out the next step. And right now we are wrapping up our holiday Cyber Monday offer where we're offering it for $100 off. It's a great opportunity for you to get in. That's only good through today. So we hope that if that's something that you're interested in, you'll check out this link, because I think it would help you stop wishing, start wanting, and determining the steps that you are going to take to achieve what it is you want to achieve. So I hope that you will take a look at that. And if you have questions, use the email that Bob mentioned, or find us in the Facebook group. If you're not yet a
also
member,
put the link there.
oh, excellent. If you have questions, you can always message us on Facebook, especially if you're in our Facebook group, which if you are not, it's a great place to go where you can share your thoughts and ideas. You can vote today on which pie is your favorite, and you can make connections with other people who consider themselves a renegade. And what a great way to at least start the conversation is say, hey, I see we're fellow renegades. What is it that makes you a renegade? So if you are interested in being a part of that group and you are not already, please go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades. And then all you have to do is ask to join. You have to ask because it's a private group. We want to create a space where people can have those conversations and feel like they're not just being promoted to all the time. And so you just tell us why you're a renegade and you can become a part of our growing community where we are helping people take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. So with that, we hope that we will see you inside the Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time for our next edition of today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, and embrace the renegading you. And of course, eat a slice of pie or two today. Maybe two. Get crazy. It's National Pie Day. I give you permission.
That's all you need, folks.
There's probably one more piece of pumpkin pie left over in the fridge from Thanksgiving.
There probably is.
Probably.
Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.